Hey everyone, welcome to The More You Know, The Better It Tastes, the most amazing podcast by San Antonio restaurants and the flavors of Texas. And I am Susie Laredo, and I'm here with my business partner.
I am Alan Williams. How are you today?
I am doing fantastic. We have an amazing guest.
Every time we do.
This is so exciting because this is a guest that is actually part of our team.
That's right.
And very
We're
excited.
excited.
Yes.
It is kind of like a big announcement.
It is.
Right?
It is.
Ladies and gentlemen.
That's right.
May I present to you Kimberly Suta.
Yes.
Do we have any audio for clapping?
We can throw it in there, absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah, Kimberly, I'm thrilled. So a lot of people take a look at our Flavors of Texas magazine. Our last issue was in December, and we showcased recipes from local restaurant owners and chefs. And oh my gosh, I think that got so much attention. But we really wanted to take it to the next level. And so we knew that bringing Kimberly Suta on board as our editor, because of her experience, and we'll get into all of that in a little bit, we are just thrilled to announce that she accepted that position. And so she is now the editor of Flavors of Texas magazine. And then the second announcement is, so Kimberly actually is the person who puts on the Burger Showdown. And so it's 6 years now, right? Is that right?
This year will be the sixth year.
The sixth year. So this is actually our second year that we have partnered with Kimberly for the Burger Showdown. And it is one of the best events. I mean, I know that we were partners in it, but it truly was one of the best events that I have been to. It was fun and
well run.
So, very well run. Exactly.
It's a fun.
Fun.
I mean, yes, we're biased, but I also agree that it's one of, like, I pray I could be just a guest.
I know.
It's so much fun.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
And so we'll get into the details of the Burger Showdown because I think people I don't know if people are aware of some of the cool things that go on with that event. So we'll get into that.
For
but
sure.
in the meantime, so Kimberly, tell us. First of all, are you from San Antonio?
No, I've been here. I'm not even going to say how many years because that'll date me.
Yeah.
But I'm from Washington State.
Okay.
Washington State.
So what brought you to
Yes.
San Antonio?
Well, really, and then we're going to get depressed. My mom died, and my family, my mom's sister and her family live here. And so after my mom passed, which was after college, they invited me. They're like, hey, come to Texas, kind of just to refresh. And it's stuck, and I'm still here.
People that come to San Antonio, they stay.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of, because, Military City, USA, everyone comes through San Antonio,
Yeah.
but a lot of people, once they retire, they come back.
They wanna
had
come
lived
back.
here during their
Yeah,
career.
yeah.
Yeah, well, good. Well, I'm glad you did that.
Yeah.
So what do you do?
Oh, gosh. What do I do?
Lots of things, right?
I mean, I always kind of start by saying I'm a food writer or a writer. So I write all sorts of things, a lot of things people don't know about me, like film, like script writing is probably my biggest passion. But, it's hard to make a career as a screenplay writer.
Yeah.
So, so that's how I got into film, like writing my scripts, but then out of necessity, producing and directing. And I found I really loved directing, producing not so much, but, kind of, again, necessity. I'm pretty good at it and used to, as a business owner, organizing myself. So now I've gotten into documentaries. I'm doing a documentary on Texas oyster farming.
Okay.
Oh, wow, that's
So
so
I'm working
cool.
on that right now with Brad Lomax, those who know Water Street in Corpus will know that. Yeah, he's the one that actually pushed through the legislation to legalize. Texas is the last coastal state in the United States to allow for oyster farming.
Really?
So,
why?
yeah.
Why? What's the problem with it? Why would it take so long to pass?
No one really, I think, had their eye on it for a long time. And Brad discovered it and was fascinated by it personally. They sell oysters at Water Street. And he had already, I believe, I don't want to misspeak, but I believe he'd already started a oyster shell recycling program. So from the wild oyster shells. And so that, he kind of dove deeper and deeper. And then he discovered this, they call it also oyster mariculture, or there's a couple different ways you can say it, but basically it's oyster farming.
Okay.
So hey, did you always know? Because one of the things that I love about your writing is that you're a storyteller. Did you always know that was your passion?
I think so. I mean, I would, and that's actually how I describe it, because I also do PR and marketing for clients and a lot in the food industry. But that's what I always kind of start with saying is I'm a storyteller. And so I can tell their story. I think since I was little, like I used to write poetry about bubble gums.
Yeah.
Like when I was 5 years old.
Wow.
And,
Yeah.
you know, all sorts of stuff. And I write songs too.
Okay. Yeah. So you
We're learning all kinds of stuff about Kim.
We are. And so you graduated from college and went straight into running a magazine.
So yes. So after college, and in college even, that could have taken a whole other trajectory, because I worked with Japanese students. There were English students that excuse me, had like a 3-month semester in America, and this was in Spokane, Washington. So while I was going to school,
because Washington has a pretty
my
large
job.
Japanese population, right?
They do, I think more, like Seattle and but Spokane not so much. But for whatever reason, there was a campus there, and that's where I worked with Japanese students, and I just fell in love with that whole experience, and that's kind of how I got into kind of multicultural stuff. And I actually wanted to go teach English in Japan, but I never got that job. So like I said, different trajectory. But I forgot your original question.
Running a magazine right after college.
The magazine. So then after college, I went back home to be closer to my mom, because she's the one that passed away, and she had multiple sclerosis. So by then she was already really sick, and so I wanted to be close to her. And so my hometown, Longview, Washington, which the only reference I can give you there is there's a Green Day song called Longview.
Yes.
Do you know that song?
I do, of course.
That's actually about my hometown.
You're kidding. I
No,
didn't know.
I'm not
okay, I'm going to have to
kidding.
go listen to it again now.
I'm not even going to say it. The lyrics are X-rated. And
Okay,
I'm not
you're right.
gonna say
Yes.
But it's true.
Okay.
All I'm going to say is there's nothing going on in that town. So I did not really want to move home, but I did. But anyway, it was weird because this company, it was an 800 and 900 reseller back when this was hot, the 900 number market.
Right.
And so I got a job working for them, but they were doing, I don't know how, it was like, having to refresh my memory, but there were like all these kind of like the current newspapers from all over the nation.
Yeah.
And they had we were doing layouts for them with these 800, 900 ads and columns. And I don't even remember.
Yeah.
But I was doing that kind of graphic design. And then the owner of the company decided he wanted to be a big dog. And so he wanted to start a publication for the industry, a trade publication. So I got the job being the editor for that. Yeah. And that was actually really fun. I got to go to Vegas for trade shows, and you got to see again. It was, can I say, I don't know if I can say sex worker.
That's what it was for.
Was like,
You just did.
Yeah.
sex and psychics everywhere. It was really a lot of fun.
Yeah.
I had a
Wow.
blast. Yeah.
That's quite an experience for a young lady.
Yeah. And so and so from there, so when did you get into the food world from there?
So always being a writer, again, I mean, I've done a lot of different things in a lot of different industries, but writing has always kind of been my core. And so I think at the time I was writing for a company. I can't remember what their original name was, but they ended up being bought out by it's USA Today.
Oh, okay.
Bought 10best.com out. So I guess it was something 10best.com, but so that USA Today bought them out. And they had originally, before USA Today bought them out, they approached me. I don't know, whoever the editor was at the time found me and just asked me to be their San Antonio writer. Okay. They were already national, so they had writers in every market, like all the major markets. And so I honestly kind of fell into it. So as much as I've always loved food, and my grandma taught me early on, like food is my love language. That's our family love language.
Sure.
And so, and I cook and all that, but it just kind of happened. Like I started writing about restaurants, and and then just started doing more and more and more of it. So I'd say it's been about 10 years or so now that I've been kind of more heavily ensconced in the food scene.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that really I don't know, connected us with you is our like-mindedness in reference to the relationship building and really caring about these restaurants and these chefs and
the
that
local,
kind of thing.
the love of local. Yeah, exactly. I think I remember when we had that meeting at. Maybe that was our first meeting
I
at
think
the
it
wing,
was.
at the wing place.
Was it?
No, not the wing
No,
place.
it was Archie's.
At Archie's?
Wasn't it Archie's?
We met.
That was the second meeting,
Closer
maybe.
to downtown at that restaurant. It's no longer there.
Yes, that's
It wasn't there very long. What
right.
was that called?
Yes, I know what you're talking about.
Tattoo helped build
Tattoo's
it.
restaurant.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
I think he was actually a consultant in it, but
Yes,
Yeah.
that's the one.
I just remember our conversation at the wing, at Josh's wing place.
Oh, yes, revolutionary. You're right. That
That
is the
was
first
the first
meeting.
one.
You're
You're right.
right.
See?
Yep.
And I remember that feeling of just like and that's one thing like immediately I loved about you guys was just that you're just so heartfelt
Same.
passion to help this industry and the independent people in it. And it's such a hard industry. And, I've learned so much just about chef life and this whole world, and you admire it more and more.
You've created this interesting job, an interesting life, I guess, because, they talk about this gig economy where you do a little bit of this, a little bit of that. You do a lot of this and a lot of that. You all kinds of stuff. And
I
you just kind of
do.
created that.
I do, and I think that comes from my my biggest fear, or the thing I detest the most is boredom.
Yeah.
And I don't like repetition. I could never be in a job. Some people love that, going to a 9-to-5 job and doing the same thing every day, and I just can't do that.
Yeah,
and so
same.
I like to have a lot of balls in the air, and even though sometimes I drive myself crazy with that, it's fun. And when we started, so Ed Villarreal, which was my former partner with Homegrown Chef, as you know.
Yeah.
So he and I started doing the events together. So that was not something I've ever even, if you had asked me 10 years ago if I was going to be doing what I'm doing now a lot and loving it so much, I would have been shocked. But I do think I kind of have a natural, I guess, flair for the event planning. And, I just do it because I want to eat all this great food.
Yeah, exactly.
Well,
and there's so much talent, that I think that's what's so amazing about it as well, is there's so much, we have so much talent in our, I don't know, getting into this this line of work and meeting the chefs and the restaurant owners and beyond. I don't know. You just realize, wow. I mean, it's crazy, how much talent there is, and combined with what you do and what we all do, I think that we can kind of take things to a whole other level, which is really cool.
Absolutely. And I'm really excited about working with y'all on the Flavors of Texas magazine.
Me too. Us too.
I think there's just, I do like that it's digital. And I think that, that has so much room to grow and showcase, local. And I'm really excited about this my first issue, but this upcoming summer issue.
Me too.
Yeah, so we had Edition with SA Gold, which we have, maybe 5
something like that.
editions of that. And now
you have how many? 5?
I think it's 5,
okay.
I
I think so, yeah.
And then
I think
we rebranded to Flavors of Texas
and we
magazine.
put out 2.
Yes.
This will be our 3rd.
Yeah. And the reason everything that we do, from this podcast to the magazine to everything we do, is built to focus and educate people on local restaurants. People just don't know. I had somebody that owns some restaurants downtown that is in the industry that really should know better say San Antonio is mostly chains. It's like, no, there are tons of beautiful local restaurants.
Yeah.
He's like, really? Yes. People don't know that.
They don't know that.
Our whole mission is to get people to understand that. And so that's what we do with this magazine, we're going to have articles about local restaurants, articles about things that are happening locally. It's all about
Places
local.
to go in the summer that you can go and enjoy. There's a lot of really fun things in this magazine I'm excited about.
Yeah.
I have to say really quickly before we get too much into the magazine, just as a side note, so Kimberly is somebody who's a connector. So she'll connect she connects people. And so she introduced us to the powers that be at Biga on the Banks. And after we met, and they're amazing, and I just, love them, love working with them. One of the owners reached out to me and said that they said, we want to reach out to Kimberly and thank her. And I think this is what's so cool, because this is what we hear from, whenever your name is brought up or whenever you make a connection like that. They said she's somebody who is so passionate and is real. She's like you're not getting a bunch of, her passion and her excitement and her, really wanting to help us is real. And so, and
we said, what?
The cool,
they're making me teary.
The cool thing about it was, and she said, and then she connected us with you guys, and it's like you guys are the same, and so, and I was like, yeah, I said, it's so true, and yeah, anyway, so I'm thrilled that we're partnered now on so many different things.
Well, I think this is proof that like attracts like, and I do believe, I don't want to get into all this stuff, but I am a little bit of a hippie, and, I believe in the universe connecting us. Some people call it God. I call it the universe. But
yeah, for sure. And I think that absolutely everything happens for a reason, and people are connected for a reason.
Yeah,
for sure.
So cool. I'm very, very honored.
Yeah.
And for that reason, we're at a perfect place to stop and take a break.
There you go. And then we'll get more into the magazine when we get back.
Right. We'll be right back. Susie, one of our biggest audience members is restaurant owners or people that are thinking about getting into restaurants. Yes. And from talking to them, the biggest issue they have in running a restaurant is their POS system.
Absolutely. It's such an important, of course, part of being a restaurant owner.
Yeah. And some of them they're just these big behemoth software companies that do so much, it just gets... San Antonio POS is who we recommend, because San Antonio POS is locally owned, locally managed, and you get local service.
Absolutely. And we've heard some restaurant owners who have been in such a pickle. They've needed to get a representative out there to fix something on their POS system because it is so important, and they haven't been able to get a hold of somebody or get somebody out there. They'll tell them it's 3 days before we can get somebody out there, and that is not workable. Where with San Antonio POS, because they are local, they're there and ready to help.
They're right away. San Antonio POS uses SkyTab, which is a software that was made for the hospitality industry, and it has everything you already want. But the first thing that our friend David Dyken that owns San Antonio POS, he'll come out and he'll sit with you and find out exactly what your processes are and design it for your restaurant.
Yeah, and one of the reasons, because we are really picky about who we work with, even sponsors. We want to make sure that they are.
You're not picky. You work with me.
Yeah. I'm very picky.
All right.
But David is amazing. He has a heart like we do, as far as the restaurant owners go, where he really cares, and he goes in there. He wants the restaurant to succeed.
And he's been doing this more than 30 years, so he knows what he's doing. He
knows what he's doing, exactly.
Yeah.
The other cool thing about San Antonio POS is that system is there's no hidden costs.
That's right.
So a lot of different systems, they charge for their gift cards, they charge for loyalty programs, they charge for all of those different types of things where it's all included.
Yeah, and not only that, right now they have a special. If you have a San Antonio POS put into your system, afterwards, you'll get $5,000 back. That helps to cover the cost for your training, helps to cover the costs of any downtime that you had while switching. It really is a great opportunity.
It is a great program. Exactly, yeah. So David Dyken is the individual that you want to get a hold of. He owns San Antonio POS, and as we said, amazing fella. And you can go to his website. Alan, his phone number is
210-723-6075.
Make sure you say that San Antonio Restaurants or the Flavors of Texas sent you.
That's right. And you can also go to our website, which is theflavorsoftexas.com. Scroll down to the bottom, and you'll see a banner that says San Antonio POS. Click on that, and it takes you right there.
Absolutely.
All right. And we are back. This is The More You Know, The Better It Tastes. And today we have our guest is our friend, Kimberly Suta. And Kimberly is the new editor of our magazine. So woohoo! So we wanted to have her on and talk about the magazine because it's something we're real proud of. We haven't put out as much as we would have liked to. And so now with Kimberly's help, we think we can really get it out there because man, there's just so much stuff to write about, so much happening in San Antonio.
So much happening in San Antonio, so many things going on. Yeah, so we're so grateful. But anyway, in this magazine, so we've kind of sat down and really talked about, showcasing and featuring some, of course, great local restaurants here in San Antonio, but we want to give you guys more than that as well. So one of the things that we have in our magazine, which was really popular in the last magazine, and that was, of course, showcasing a recipe. And so we're kind of thinking, maybe it's summer produce, it's, things like that. But we have an amazing group called Kitchen Talk. And on Kitchen Talk, it's...
this is a Facebook group.
Yeah, Facebook group. I'm so sorry. We have a Facebook group called Kitchen Talk. And Kitchen Talk is a group where everybody, who's in there loves to cook. And so they're sharing their recipes, sharing photos of the things they've made. It's a fun group. But anyhow, so if you're not a member, go and join Kitchen Talk, because we're going to actually use that group to give us suggestions for recipes, summer recipes for the magazine. So you never know, your recipe might end up in there.
That would be fun.
It would be a lot of fun. Exactly.
And speaking of produce, can I do a shameless plug?
Absolutely.
Please do.
I've been working lately with Unifresh Produce. So, and who knows, maybe they can help us in some form or fashion at some point.
That.
But they, fantastic produce, local, also family owned. And so, I've been having so much fun working with produce, you guys, and learning about produce. Did you guys know there's pink pineapples out there?
Wow. Wild.
And they're so good. They even taste different.
You're kidding.
In a better way. Like, I would describe them as all the sweet pineapple flavor, but a little less acidic.
Interesting. Yeah. So one of the articles that we're going to have in the magazine, I think, is going to be, farmers markets and things like that. Which I love going to farmers markets anytime, but of course summer, there's so much
tomatoes.
Yeah,
I've been getting tomatoes lately from the Corey Farmers Market.
Well, and there's
tomatoes.
And it's the other thing too is supporting the local farmers.
Yep.
And
That's really important.
It really is. And at the farmers market, that's where you can find your the local bakers and just there's just so many cool things and small businesses that are trying
the
to
concha,
thrive.
I told you about the concha. So I love the Pearl Farmers Market. Don't get me wrong. I've been going there since back when Pedro, if people know Pedro, my father's farm. He was one of the first or the first farmer there back when there was like 3 underneath the freeway there.
Okay.
Yeah, so amazing guy. But anyway, it got so crowded there. I've been shopping at the Alamo Heights Farmers Market.
Okay.
And those concha people. And I got to try it. I tried one of their, it was a sourdough.
Oh my gosh.
Scone with chocolate chips.
Wow.
So that it was good. And I think they just made they got nominated for one of the best bakers in San Antonio by the Current.
That
Very
is
nice.
amazing.
So hopefully they're good for maybe some other stuff you're doing.
Yeah,
and then,
absolutely.
What was the other one? Oh, but my farmer there, and he even has chicken eggs and he has duck eggs.
Wow.
And
I
all
love
sorts
it.
there's 2 farmers actually that go to that market and they're fantastic. One of the guys pickles his own zucchini. It's really wonderful stuff.
Okay, so you're gonna so Kimberly and I are gonna put this article together, together. And so, yes, I cannot wait for her to drag me around to these farmers markets.
Yeah. What else are we going to have in the magazine?
So we're going to have barbecue.
This one's planned to come out in July. Mid-July is when we expect it to come out.
Yeah, so we're going to have great barbecue spots that you can go to because
I'm writing the
you
barbecue
can't,
article.
Exactly, because you cannot,
Summer barbecue.
Yes, and which you can't go wrong. For me, I love barbecue. So, and it's interesting because that used to not be something that I would typically order. But now that I've had good barbecue at great local restaurants, now I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm barbecue. Yeah. So we'll have that. We'll also have food trucks. Great food trucks that you can go and visit throughout the in the summer. We'll have we'll just
Summer
have
wines.
Summer wines, yes. And we have an amazing sommelier who works with us. Her name is Ceci Beretta. Some of you guys might know her, but she's fantastic. She actually has put articles in our magazine the last few issues. Anyway, so this time she'll be talking about summer wines, which is amazing. Which Alan, for those of you who, again, if you're not a member of our Kitchen Talk group, join it because Alan posted about a white Malbec.
That's right.
I was like, what in the world?
Yeah, I'd never seen it before, and I got it from HEB. It's from Argentina.
At first I thought you were joking because the glasses looked like it had water in them, and I was thinking
Yeah, and that is what was unusual about it, because typically even a white wine is really kind of gold or something, but no, this is pure white.
It is clear. It looks like water,
kind of like vodka or something.
That's what it looks like.
Weird.
But it's a white Merlot, and it
it's a Malbec.
I'm sorry, white Malbec, and it really tasted like a white wine. It was very fresh, very fruity. The smell was very not the smell, but the bouquet.
The bouquet
was very fruity, but it was delicious.
Yeah, he posted a photo of it, and I was like,
$11, $12.
I was like, what is this?
Yeah.
I was like, what? Okay, so I'm gonna have to try this.
Anyway,
I really wish I liked wine and drinking more than I do.
Practice.
I wish. I know.
Perfect.
Yeah,
exactly. So one of the things too that I'd love to bring up is advertising in our magazine. So we get a ton of eyes on our magazine. Our issue receives 45,000 plus eyes on our magazine. We have close to 300,000 people that follow us on our Facebook group. And then on all of our other platforms put together, about 500,000 people. Our last issue everybody was so excited about it. It was even featured on SA Living. So we get a lot of eyes on our magazine, and anybody out there who has a business or a small business, we have an amazing advertising package. And
it's a great place to put your information down, because a lot of people are going to see it.
We even have a section called I Love Texas Products, which I'm so excited about that particular section. And so if you have spices or soaps or really anything
local, kind of culinary related, even if it's like knives or stuff like
or
that.
whatever, exactly, then we will have a whole section for you in there, and with that links to your your shopping cart or whatever. So
and I think we should also just clarify that even if we're welcoming advertisers, even if they're not in the culinary industry.
For sure.
Sure. Insurance agent, roofers, you name it.
Bank, hello.
Yeah.
Hello,
Exactly.
Frost Bank, come to
Pepsi.
us.
No.
Pepsi.
Yes, for sure. No, I agree. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this magazine will come out in mid-July, and you'll learn more about it on San Antonio Restaurants and all of our venues that we have online. You can see where to get it. You can also just go to the Play Store and put in San Antonio Restaurants and get our app. Once you have the app, you'll have it right on your phone. You touch it, and you can get to the magazine that way as well.
Absolutely.
And plus past issues.
Yes, and one other article I'll mention, just because this was a popular one in our last issue as well, is Rick, who is Random Acts of Snacks. He actually was on our podcast a couple of podcasts ago. Well, he's going to be writing an article about summer snacks, and so he goes and he visits local spots where you can get amazing snacks. And so anyway, that'll be in there too.
Yeah.
Who doesn't love a snack?
Yeah. So that's what's I'm really excited to read some of these articles by. So, Susie and Ellen work a lot with influencers and collaborations and stuff like that. And so it'll be fun to have these people that are really trendsetters or on the cusp of, what's happening in San Antonio, kind of being our eyes and ears.
Exactly. Yeah. I love it. Okay. So let's talk about the Burger Showdown.
Yeah.
Yay, burgers.
I am. So for those of you out there who haven't been or are not quite sure how the Burger Showdown works, because there's a lot of events that go on, a lot of culinary events that happen in San Antonio. What I loved about, and even though I know we're very particular as to who we partner with or get involved with or whatever, but when Kimberly came to us and said, hey, listen, I would love to partner with you guys for the Burger Showdown, I mean, it was an immediate yes. And the reason for that was because of the way it's set up. So basically what we do is we handpick, how many is it? 12, 13 chefs?
I usually do 10 to 12.
10 to 12 chefs.
2 usually drop off, so it's about 10.
About 10 chefs, yeah. So I handpicked these chefs who are amazing. Well, first of all, I love the story as to how this all came about. Which Kimberly was telling me that she was sitting around.
Let her tell the story.
Yeah, tell the story. You want to tell the story?
She's our guest. Let her talk.
Yeah. I didn't know if she knew which one I was talking about. That was the only reason.
Talking about how the whole thing started.
Yeah.
So I mean, really, it was online, and I think I did a post about who could make the best burger, and so I'm already connected with a lot of chefs, and so the chefs started basically thrown down, like just, it started becoming like a little bit of a pissing contest. What can I say?
No, you can't, but that's okay. We'll bleep it out.
We'll bleep it out. So, So, I mean, it started this thing online where people were arguing about who could make the best burger. And then I was like, well, let's prove it. Let's have a competition. So, a chef competition. And, and then we just did it. Sometimes I'll actually bring ideas to fruition.
Did you automatically think this is a place where people will come, or is just among your friends having it?
I just thought it would be. I mean, I really didn't think at first that much about it. Just it would be a fun idea, and
because chefs are so competitive.
They're so competitive, and there wasn't really anything. At least, I think now there have been several or a couple other burger type competitions, but at the time there hadn't been. And so I thought this is something different, something fun. And the chefs are just, like, it'd be a fun thing to do. And it was a fundraiser, and it's still today a fundraiser.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that was one of the things that I thought was so cool about it is, again, there's a lot of events in San Antonio, so we've been to a lot of events, but all of the chefs, they really go for it.
They go for it.
Every one of those burgers was like, blew me away.
Yeah, I don't know what it is because, same thing. Like y'all, I go to a lot of these different events where you have all these different booths and vendors and restaurants and chefs. But for whatever reason, I don't know, burgers inspire them and they want to have the best dang burger in town.
Yes, and so there's people's choice and there's judges' choice. So there's two winners, and the winners are, in fact, one of the winners last year actually put the burger on their menu.
That's true.
The smashed people. And that was actually, okay, so everybody who knows me knows that Crazy Katsu's Pandan Burger is kind of my favorite burger. But that night, probably because I had been eating the Pandan burgers, Crazy Katsu, that smashed, it was their fajita smash burger, and they got... Which one? They got honorable mention, basically.
Yeah, so they got a combination.
Yeah. But that burger, because it came with the queso that you drizzle on.
Yes, it did. Yes.
So I'm glad they put that on the menu, but I haven't been by since. Have you guys been by?
Yes, we have.
We have, but I didn't get that burger.
Oh,
I know.
Why not?
I should have.
It's so good. So one thing that's different, I think, about this burger competition or this event compared to a lot is like you're really eating good. Like don't eat all day. Because you get, and this year we were going to make sure everyone does have slider size because sometimes people do a little bit bigger.
Yeah.
But even with 10 slider size burgers, nobody can eat all the food. You're going to want to try, but you're not probably going to succeed. I've even thought about having a competition with guests. Like, if you can eat all the burgers,
I love it.
You win something.
Right. Yeah, there's no way.
Know?
Well, and there's also fries. There's also typically Texas Cookie Company.
They've been doing it the last several years. And their cookies are phenomenal. Those go like people.
They're gone.
It's like ants. Like if people just converge on it, and all of a sudden all the cookies are gone.
Yes, yeah. So, so you're definitely going to go, and you're going to, even though it's unlimited what you can eat, like Kimberly said, there's no way you can make it around that entire eat all those burgers, and then you get a coin, and you're able to vote
for your favorite.
But it's such a cool way to taste some unbelievable chefs' offerings. And anyway, I was just blown away by it. It was such a cool evening. And, we keep it small, just a few hundred people, mainly because, and which, of course, when Kimberly told us that, of course, we're like, no, let's do more. She's like, no, we're going to keep it intimate. And you were right. It was so nice.
There's nothing worse, and that's why I don't like a lot of these events too, because who wants to go, and I'm not going to name names for companies, event companies or whatever that put on these events, but, I don't want to wait an hour in line for literally one bite of food. Like, what's the point?
Yeah.
That's not fun for me.
Yeah. So
I don't
crowded,
want people
you're jammed. Yeah.
I don't want people waiting in line. I mean, this one, you're really not. And there's enough chefs and enough going on, and people can go in and grab beer, and and hopefully this year we'll have music again.
Yes.
Some form of music.
That was fun. Yeah, a lot of people came to me that evening and said, this was one of who hadn't been before, and said this was one of the funnest events that we have been to.
I was one
I
of
thought that
them.
was really cool.
I was one of them.
I
that
was
said
one
it.
of them
I really
too.
was.
I was too.
Because I don't like these events. There's jam-packed, too many people, the music's too loud, and you got to stand in line to get one bite. You know, I don't like that.
And the bite's
yours
not
is-
even good.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
Yeah,
so
so
no,
true.
I like the way it's run.
No, I do too. It was so much fun, and there was enough variety of chefs there that you felt like you had something to do the whole time. Anyways, but we're excited. So that event will be in October.
September. No,
September.
sorry.
October.
October, yes. We have not set a date yet. That's what we're working on right now. We're just on the cusp of locking down our venue and then locking in our chefs and making those announcements. And then hopefully ticket link will be up in the next month or so for people to pre-sale.
Yes, and I'm telling you, you have got to go to this event. I mean, I truly was blown away. I mean, I was expecting an amazing event, but I think we were all really just blown away by it. So, yeah.
And it is a fundraiser. I think I kind of mentioned that. This year we haven't decided where the fundraising funds will go. Last year we did Gardopia Gardens and we've done the food bank.
Right.
The food bank is amazing and we may go in that direction, but I really like finding more.
I think I have one.
I don't want to say
I'll let you
local.
know.
I want to say local, but more hyper local, like people that really do need our help, but also in the food, kind of in related to food. So if anyone knows of anything, feel free to reach out to us.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
there you
sure.
go.
For sure. So, okay, so tell us about the St. Paul's dinner. Well, first of all, how did that all come about? You do these amazing dinners.
Right.
And that's kind of a newer thing.
Yeah, the St. Paul Square Dinner Club. Again, like I mentioned with Homegrown Chef, I started doing events. Now it's probably been 7 years ago, food-related events. Before that, I had run a film competition called The Gong Shorts here for like 5 years. I've done events for clients. I mean, all sorts of stuff. But the Homegrown Chef, we started doing some public events. Then we started doing kind of an underground dinner club. So I've been running that for like 7-ish years. And then last year, I got approached by one of my my friends who's in the industry and owned a bar, restaurant. Actually, it was Francis Bogside. And so he's like, hey, can you start kind of what you're doing for these other dinners? Can you start that here for us because they had just relocated to St. Paul Square and were having difficulty kind of bringing in a crowd during the week and just wanted more exposure. And I was like, sure, And so then I started it and I was trying to remember, I think Chef Kirk might have been my first one. And then, we did Caesar's Zapella and, I've done Caius, all these other ones. But I think I'd done 2 events there at Bogside before my friend slash business associate ended up getting kicked out of the business by his partners. And so they kind of canceled all events.
So you had to find a new place.
So we've been jumping around, but that's actually been kind of fun to different venues. We were at the Aiden for a few. We've done Cuban
Charity Bar,
1918.
I noticed, right?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
The last one was at Charity Bar. So I'm featuring different chefs each month.
Different chefs at different places.
Different chefs at different places
Yeah.
and just giving them an opportunity
How cool.
to showcase their own cuisine. And, I've built up a little bit of a following, but they're bringing in a following. A lot of people are just going just to see, like, what's this chef about,
which is the coolest thing ever.
Yeah.
I love that.
So they're having fun. We're having fun. This last month at Charity Bar, it was kind of different than anything we've done before. My head chef, Josh Calderon, he wanted to turn it into a fundraiser for Aaron Pena, who's recently announced that he's battling testicular. I think it's testicular or prostate cancer.
Yep.
Don't want to misspeak there, but so he brought in like 7 other chefs and mixologists and turned it into just this big thing.
That's
And it was we did that one last week, and that was one of my favorite events of all time because it was just, man, everyone was there because they're, again, passionate, wanting to help out, and the guests were just so wonderful.
That's amazing.
And like, it was a blast. I can't say enough about it. Yeah.
Yeah. Another thing too that that you're doing are these tours, like for culinary tours, like for example on the Riverwalk. Is that right?
Yes, I started another company called Riverwalk Culinary Adventure Tours. I know that's a mouthful. So gosh, I've been doing that like 3 years or so, because I'm also the food and drink writer for Rio magazine, which is the dedicated Riverwalk magazine. And so kind of tying into that, I mostly focus, I haven't done solely Riverwalk events, but mostly. And so we'll hop around, just a walking tour.
Yeah.
Usually do 3 stops.
Oh,
So like this last one I did a singles tour, and we started at Elsewhere Bar and then walked along the Northern Reach and then went to the Pearl. Then we had some food over at the food hall. Try to keep it. Some of them I try to keep affordable.
Yeah.
And then we went to lick ice cream. But some of them I've done higher end ones too.
yeah.
I've done private tours for people as well. I was
See? Like I said, she does everything.
I know. I love
A little
it.
bit of everything.
I love it.
I was doing events for Match.com as well.
Really?
Yeah. And they just shut down their whole event programming. So
okay.
that's unfortunate. But
yeah.
Wow.
Very
it's
cool.
fun. Yeah.
Very cool.
It's
Yeah,
fun
it's
and
good.
Never bored.
Well, and again, you build all these amazing relationships.
Yeah.
So it's fantastic. And every one of those things, it again, is helping a local spot. Every one of those things is helping.
Yeah, exactly.
Super good. All right. Was there anything else we need to cover?
No,
I think we got
gosh,
it.
we got.
We could talk all day.
Well, I
we
know.
could.
Do you guys want to listen
We really
to us talk
could.
all day? That's the question.
Exactly. Right.
That is the question.
Yes.
This is
All
fun.
right.
I have to tell y'all, I've been begging, and by y'all I mean the listeners, I've been begging Alan to let me on the podcast for a while, remember? I'm like, so when can I come on?
Right.
And then finally I'm like, yes, I got my chance.
This is it.
So thank you for having me on.
No, thanks for
Of
being
course.
on. I'm glad and welcome. I'm so glad you're going to help us with the magazine.
Yes.
It's already a great magazine, but it's going to be fantastic now.
Awesome.
And we're just excited. So
I hope
lots
so.
of fun
Thank
stuff.
you. Thank you, everybody. Please check it out. And where can they find it?
So they can find our magazine on theflavorsoftexas.com, or also you can download our app, which I think Alan mentioned it earlier. But yeah, just go and type in San Antonio Restaurants on either Apple or Google, and download the app, and you can click Flavors of Texas. It's right there.
There you go.
Awesome.
All right. Well, we will be back again next week with another great interview. I don't know who it's going to be, but it's going to be great.
We will. Absolutely.
That's right. Until then, everyone, please tell your friends about this podcast. Share. Let everyone know.
Absolutely. And eat local and try somewhere fantastic.
Yeah.
Somewhere
There you
new.
go. All right. Okay, guys. We'll talk to you then another time. Thanks, Kim.
Thank you guys.
so much.
Bye.
Adios.
Bye.